Hey friends, how you doing? Eric Eulis here. All right, I want to give you a very quick update regarding the upcoming search, the upcoming DB Cooper search that's going to be taking place near where the money was found on Tena Bar. I'm looking for anything related to DB Cooper, specifically the parachute, perhaps the components of the bomb, which I believe were fake, anything else related to DB Cooper. Because as I've said before many times, I do believe that DB Cooper actually landed probably within a half a mile to a mile of where the money was actually found buried on Tena Bar back in 1980, an area that has never been searched by law enforcement. In fact, has never been searched by anyone other than me. The beach itself notwithstanding, because obviously when the money was found, February 10th, 1980, the FBI did arrive and did tear up the beach and try to find something. And of course, they found nothing else other than the original stash of money, the original $6,000 stash of money that Brian Ingram found, again, February of 1980. So now a couple of things are going on here. Firstly, very importantly, at least for me, is I'm relocating from the East Coast to the Seattle area on September 3rd. So the very beginning of September, I'm relocating specifically from Rhode Island to the Seattle area. Now, the reason for this, there are a couple of reasons for this, is actually, first of all, I'm working on a TV project. And so that's the place to be as far as this particular project is concerned. There'll be more information about that at a later date. Additionally, I am absolutely committed to investing some serious boots on the ground time in the area to try to find something related to DB Cooper. I mean, one thing we know for sure is that dude landed somewhere in that area. Of course, I believe he landed very near Tena Bar. And there's nothing like taking a theory and applying the acid test. In other words, it's more than, it's enough. It's not enough to simply say, hey, I've got a theory. This is what I think happened. He landed near Tena Bar within a mile, half a mile of the money find, and just kind of leave it at that. At the end of the day, somebody has got to shag their ass out there and try to find something to back the theory up, either prove it or disprove it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically apply the acid test to it and see what the hell I can find, because I'm convinced there's something else out there very nearby that's been sitting there for 54 years and has just never been discovered. And it makes sense because there are some areas that haven't been searched. Now, there's one specific area, a new area that's, again, right there in that drop zone, or the Eric Eulis drop zone, if you will, right by Tena Bar, that I'm going to be searching very soon here. Now, as far as the search is concerned, we have it originally set for the third week of August. That is obviously being moved back. It's being moved back to the middle of September. And the reason, of course, it's being moved back is because I'm relocating from the East Coast to the Seattle area. And it just makes no sense to do a search for a couple of days, jet back east for a week and a half, then jet back out west. So that's what's taking place there. I have communicated with the guys that are going to be on the search with me, and so we're all set to go. Don't have a specific date. I know we're looking somewhere around, probably around the 10th, 11th, 12th of September, something in that area there. But it's going to start off with a one-day search of a very specific area that I'm really excited about. And who knows? I mean, there may be something there. That's kind of what I'm hoping. I've studied this area. I've been to the area in person, of course, several times. So I've laid eyes on the area. But importantly as well, I've looked at this particular area, this particular spot from high altitude imagery that is available, that goes all the way back into the 50s. So I can, look at this spot from high altitude imagery over the years and see what has changed. And simply put, very little has changed. Basically, nothing has changed there. So if DB Cooper landed in this area, chucked the parachute, the remnants of the bomb, whatever the case may happen to be in this particular spot, this particular area, it's very well protected. And the stuff is still going to be sitting there today. I don't know why it wouldn't still be sitting there today, because the particular spot that I'm looking at is not easily accessible. And I don't know why the hell anybody would try to access for this particular area unless there was, some specific reason or something they were trying to find there. like, me in 2020, 25 trying to figure out where the hell DB Cooper's stuff is. So that's what's going on as far as the search is concerned. The other cool thing about this is that this is all going to be filmed. Like, there's going to be a lot of, over the coming, years or year, whatever the case may happen to be, as I put boots on the ground and do a lot of searching. And some of it will be with, a small group of people. Other searching will probably be just by myself, because it's easy just to get in a car and drive there and do some searching. But nonetheless, I'm going to film a lot of this stuff. So that's going to provide a terrific opportunity to create a lot of new active online DB Cooper related content that I'm going to load up on YouTube. So I'm really excited about that, because honestly, just talking about, the same old shit that we've been talking about for years related to the case, and files and evidence and type particles and stuff like that. Like, that's got its place, obviously, in the case. But at a certain point, it also gets a little fucking boring. You got to, like I said, get your ass out there and, dig around a little bit and search around and, take the machete and fight through the sticker bushes and that kind of thing to see what we come up with. And that's what's exciting about it, is because that stuff is still out there. Like, it just defies common sense that the guy would have, hauled out, parachute rigs and all kinds of crap that weigh a lot once he landed in the area. And that's whether I'm right and he landed near Tena Bar, or the FBI is right and he landed, in the FBI's drop zone, wherever that may happen to be at this point in time. Like, that stuff is still got to be there. So I am going to find it. Also, the other cool thing is that there was a piece back in 1975. There was a piece of what I believe was one of the fiberglass skirts that accompanied the railings that were part of the air stairs apparatus from the flight. The fiberglass panels or skirts that align on the sides of the air stairs were blown away and missing when the plane landed in Reno. They're large chunks, and obviously I've always pondered or wondered, where the hell are these things? They're out there somewhere. I'm surprised nobody's found them. I do believe that one of the panels, one of these large fiberglass skirts, was found back in 1975 in the Tena Bar, Washington area, the hunting grounds area. Now, there are FBI documents related to this that I've discussed before, related to this particular relatively large piece that was found, but that piece was actually left out there in the woods. So I want to try to find it. I'd like to also search and try to find that, because that's an important piece of evidence if that could be found. In fact, that would be really the only piece of evidence actually related to the aircraft itself that would have been discovered since the skyjacking took place. The only solid piece of evidence that's ever been found after the skyjacking took place is obviously the $6,000. So getting our hands on, like, let's say the fiberglass skirt, for example, in lieu of finding the bomb or a parachute or something like that, getting our hands on that fiberglass skirt, which we also know was out there, would also be a really important piece of evidence, because I believe that at the end of the day, this case is eminently solvable. And obviously the type particles and any kind of DNA stuff, all that stuff can help digging into old files, employee files, and things of that nature from different companies like Remcrew, Titanium, all that type of stuff. But the one thing that would really help out a lot is if we could get our hands on new evidence. Obviously, new evidence would be really, really critically important. And whether it's the parachute, one of the parachutes that he jumped with, because he jumped with two. He jumped with the one that he had on strapped to his back, but he also had a dummy reserve that I believe housed some of the cash. So that is also missing. So that's out there as well, and I believe he jumped with that as well. So one of those two parachutes, or like I've said before, the components of the bomb that were in the attaché case. Now, I don't believe the bomb was real, and it's possible that he just stashed the entire attaché case with the bomb somewhere. And if he did, boy, that'd be a terrific treasure trove of evidence if that could be found, because obviously, there was electrical tape and road flares or whatever the hell was used to construct this bomb. There were opponents and comparts and things that would be important of an evidentiary perspective as far as trying to ascertain where these components and where this guy came from. And needless to say, if there's electrical tape there that has a fingerprint or maybe DNA or something like that on it, that would also be really important. So I believe that stuff is also still out there. Now, I think personally that he probably took the components of the bomb out of the attaché case and discarded those, and then took the attaché case itself with him when he left. I think that's probably what happened. Probably put some of the cash in there when he rolled. But you know, if that's the case, again, that's something that's important to try to find. Now, it is possible, of course, that he just decided to take the attaché case with the bomb with him and completely evacuated area with all of that. But that's a little, I don't know, that's a little dangerous, especially if he happens to get caught or something like that. Like the cops pull him over walking down the street, and for whatever reason he has to open up that. They want to search the attaché case and they see a fucking bomb in there. Well, that would obviously be a very big problem for him, a hard thing to explain away. Now, if there's nothing in there, a few documents or whatever, that's normal. So either way, my whole point is that I believe that the bomb is still out there, as well as the parachutes are still out there. As far as any more money being out there, probably not. That doesn't make any sense. I think all that stuff was buried on Tena Bar and ultimately recovered. Again, $6,000 found by Brian Ingram in 1980. Notwithstanding. So a lot of cool stuff taking place here. So the important thing to remember here, the search that was originally planned for the third week of August is being pushed back a few weeks till the middle of September. Again, primarily because I'm relocating from Rhode Island to the Seattle area. I'm very excited about that. I actually lived in Seattle for several years during the 90s. So this is actually going to be really cool for me, and I am going to be putting a lot of personal effort, a lot of personal time into actually putting boots on the ground all throughout that theater, but specifically around the Tena Bar area, trying to figure out where the hell the stuff that this guy jumped with is, because that shit is out there somewhere. I'm convinced of it. I'll keep you up to date. That's everything I have for you right now. And until next time, folks, as usual, cheers.